A new US bill seeks to ban countries which sell citizenship, including Malta, from visa-free travel. Robert Abela dodges journalists, press conferences, and a debate for the fourth day running, and the arrival of a Russian super yacht in Malta raises concerns over sanctions. All this and more on Lovin Daily. Good evening, Malta and Gozo. Jonathan Chile here, joined by Yannick Poch. We've got some big updates as far as the Russia-Ukraine crisis is affecting Malta, as well as the latest from the 2022 general election campaign trail. And stay tuned to the end of the episode. We've got a special guest in the building, Moviment Graffitti's and Andre Callus, so stay tuned for that. But before that, Yannick Poch is here with details on the top story.
Yeah, so a bill proposed to the US Congress could see Maltese nationals no longer able to travel to the US without the need for a visa. So Malta is one of 40 countries whose citizens are able to travel to the United States without, for a period of 90 days or less without the need for a visa. However, two congressmen, Republican Burgess Owens and Steve Cohen, have presented a bill which proposes withdrawing this waiver in the case of countries that sell citizenship. As you know, Malta has its citizenship by investment program. The bill was presented and follows kind of the sanctions being imposed on Russia, as well as many oligarchs that are perceived as being close to the regime. Malta has announced that it has suspended the sale of passports to Russian nationals. However, this did come after quite a bit of pressure and quite a bit of resistance on the part of the Maltese government. In fact, initially the response was that the due diligence is among the best in the world, and there was no reason for it to be suspended. However, the program has now been suspended, but it would seem that if, irrespective of whether passports are being sold to Russian nationals, if this bill were to go through, that's it for the visa-free travel.
This would be a big disaster for Maltese travelers, people who enjoy going to America, the US for 90 days visa-free. I mean, there's also concerns over whether Malta should stay in this Schengen zone, which is visa-free travel within the European member states. So this is majorly concerning for anyone who enjoys traveling, especially coming out of the COVID-19 pandemic. People haven't really had a chance to travel recently. I can imagine so many people are hoping to travel around. So this is very worrying for that. So definitely Love Malta will be giving you updates on that as soon as we get them. Moving on to the next story. Prime Minister Robert Abela has seemingly been hiding from the press, refusing to hold a press conference or even take questions from journalists for the fourth day running. It's pretty interesting when you start looking at the numbers. Abela's last press conference was actually held on Monday, 28th February, where he actually refused to entertain questions concerning a very controversial property deal involving alleged kidnapper and suspected money launderer Christian Borge. Just yesterday, he had a big press event where he opened a airplane hangar. There was lots of journalists there and press there. They followed him around for about an hour and a half. However, they were unable to actually ask any questions at the end of it. Abela dodged questions and dashed off before journalists actually had a chance. And this morning, typically in election season, the Labour Party holds a morning press conference at about 10 a.m. in Bormla at the Rialto Theatre. It hasn't been called again. And this is very worrying because we are very much in the midst of election season. If ever there's a time for the Prime Minister to answer questions, it is now. And it's actually even more concerning when you look at what his counterpart's doing, Bernard Grech. I mean, I don't know if you saw the coverage today, but Bernard Grech has been very much out there. He went to junior college today after being tagged in some posts online over the last few days, and he was taking photos and questions from journalists as well as the public. And just let the record show that our invitation to Robert Abela to have a debate with Bernard Grech is still open. He has yet to respond, though Bernard Grech has accepted the invitation.
Yeah, Bernard Grech is riding a bit of a wave at the moment, especially among the country's gamers. What was it this week?
It was this week.
He was tagged in the Pastizze posting, a gamer meme, and was asked whether he was a gamer and responded in a manner that was deemed appropriate for the group.
Let's be very clear. The meme goes, you tag someone popular and you just ask them casually, "Inti gamer, are you a gamer?" in English. And Bernard Grech replied in kind, just saying, "Yeah, bro." Yes, bro, basically in English. So he clearly got the vibe.
Yes, definitely did. On to our next story. The arrival in Malta of a super yacht owned by a Russian oligarch has raised questions about whether Malta will be acting as a safe haven for the evasion of sanctions. So the 80 million 70-meter boat owned by Maxim Shubarev docked in Birgu this morning amid reports of several super yachts being seized by different countries. As we said there, many countries across the world are ramping up sanctions against Russia and Russian oligarchs. Shubarev, it must be said, has not been sanctioned as things stand. He is a Maltese citizen, nor has the company that he is the chairman of. It's unclear whether he was on the boat or whether it was the visit to Malta was scheduled beforehand. Though, as we said, Germany seized the super yacht this week, so did France. With more sanctions being added each day, it will be interesting to see whether the Maltese government is put in a position where it needs to take some form of action.
Exactly, and on the topic of the Ukraine-Russia crisis, a Maltese journalist, Paul Caruana-Galizia, is actually on the border between Ukraine and Poland, and he's been reporting practically every day for the last couple of days with really vivid details of what it's like on the border. He spoke to families fleeing the incoming Russian army. He spoke to foreigners who were actually living in Ukraine at the time. He actually spoke to a Moroccan man who was studying there. So it's not just Ukrainians that are caught up in this. It's actually people who were living there, studying there, working there for a variety of reasons. So Paul Caruana-Galizia is the son of a murdered Maltese journalist, Daphne Caruana-Galizia, and he's now working with the British media house Tortoise, who have sent him over to the border. So if you are interested in kind of getting a bit of a Maltese perspective and what's happening on the ground right on the border of Ukraine with refugees fleeing, an estimated 1 million people have already fled. It's estimated up to 7 million people could be fleeing over the next few weeks. Definitely check out the website on lovinmalta.com. We've got links to Paul Caruana-Galizia's writings. It's quite an eye-opening affair, honestly.
Yeah, I haven't had a chance to go through it yet, but definitely will be. On to
the final story, yes, Spider-Man. A very, very interesting story. I don't know if you've seen this, but across Malta, people are racking up their efforts to raise donations, raise funds, and raise supplies for Ukrainian people. And one Maltese streamer who goes by the name of Spider-Man, that's SPAJJDERMAN, yesterday streamed himself for 4.5 hours just repeating the phrase, "Stop war." He said the phrase "stop war" 20,000 times. Talk about dedication. We actually reached out to Spider-Man to say, what was he thinking? Why did he do this to himself? And he said, listen, he wanted to do this to feel, quote, a fraction of the pain that people suffer in war. He said that he lost his voice and that his cheeks now hurt. So obviously it's a bit of a light-hearted story in the midst of all this chaos that's happening in Ukraine. But if you are interested in seeing how some Maltese streamers are showing their support for Ukraine, definitely check out Spider-Man's YouTube channel and check out the article where we interviewed him.
Yeah, so that's it from us. We're going to cut to a short video clip and then we'll be back with our interview with Andre Callus.
Quick question, election season, who are you voting for, do you know?
No one.
No one. Why are you voting for no one this election?
They're all criminals.
Hey guys, Jonathan Chinley here from Lovin Malta. Election season is very much underway, so we came to Violet to ask one very important question. Who are you voting for? Do you know which party you're voting for?
No, not yet. Before there were some very clear distinctions between the two parties. Now not anymore.
Who are you voting for?
That's my business.
Is there an issue that you care about the most during this election?
No, the fact that Malta is grey listed and being looked at as a mafia state, I don't think that's good for the future of the country, to be honest.
First taxes, the second clean.
Is Malta too messy?
It is. From my opinion, yes. I'm sorry.
The wages, definitely. Yes, definitely the wages. Everything else, I'm pretty satisfied.
I can talk based on the migration side. Because as we are living in Malta, we pray the country should be built more good and they can have a lot of income inside.
It's a whole corrupt system and it's a pity. I mean, I voted for Labour. I went against my family beliefs I heard my father about it and what I got, and I got arrested, and because of the money laundering stuff that they're doing, they're trying to put it on us, so we get out of the grey listing, and it's horrible.
And what's the one issue you care about most during this election?
People's mentality.
People's mentality, what do you mean?
The mentality in Malta about politics is backwards. So, it needs to change.
The green and environmental issue is very, very important. I think that the grey listing is not impactful yet, but it might be a big problem in the near future.
Greenery we have and the trees we have, they are being either uprooted. For me, it's a real big headache.
So guys, we spent the entire morning running around Valletta asking people of all ages who they're going to vote for, and very clearly they are not very comfortable saying the party or candidate on camera. Clearly, voting preferences are still very sensitive in Malta. Let us know in the comments below who you're going to vote for if you're comfortable with it. And until next time, this has been Jonathan Cilia for Lovin Malta.
Welcome back. I'm here with Moviment Graffitti's Andre Callus, who are going to be discussing the election, activism, and maybe some other subjects with. For this interview, we're going to shift to Maltese. Andre, grazie tal-li
għajt.
Kif int?
All right, mux kazi.
Mela, kif taf, ovvjament, naħseb kif jaf kulħadd qegħdin f'nofs kampanja elettorali. L-ewwel l-assessment tiegħek ta' forsi dak li rajt s'issa. Tħossok ispirat?
Le, ma naħseb fl-ebda kampanja elettorali mħassejtni daqshekk ispirat. Mill-kampanji elettorali mhux xi ħaġa li minħoss daqshekk entużjażmu għalihom, jiena l-politika nħobba, imma l-politika partiġana iddejjaqni. U ovvjament f'kampanja elettorali dik l-iktar ħaġa li ħa toħroġ. Il-partiġanizmu.
Għan nistaqsik xi ġelek fis-sens x'inhu fuq l-elezzjoni. Nibdew naraw hija l-elezzjoni hawn Malta jew in ġenerali li ġistu joħroġ il-partiġanizmu. Naħseb li hawn Malta.
Le, hawn Malta joħroġ. Issa hemm aspett li kważi għandi ċertu faxxinu lejh, ġifieri kif il-partiti jirnexxilhom jimmobilizzaw dawk in-nies, hemm ċertu ammirazzjoni tal-tip ta' organizzazzjoni li għandhom fuq dak il-livell ħanejtek. Però minnaħa l-oħra mbagħad naħseb meta niġu biex niddiskutu verament il-kwistjonijiet u l-ixju huwa spazju veru fqir, spazju fejn ma jirnexxinniex verament niddiskutu l-kwistjonijiet li hemm li nagħmlu analiżi ta' dak li sejjer ħażin u kif nistgħu nagħmlu biex imur aħjar. Naħseb hemmhekk hemm diskors li huwa fqir ħafna mbagħad.
Ġbir fl-opinjoni tiegħek bħalissa x'inhuma l-issues li forsi għandhom li tkun tistenna jkunu qegħdin jiġu diskussi waqt kampanja elettorali?
Mela jiena naħseb l-issue li hawn u li taffettwu mbagħad ħafna issues oħra huwa l-mudell ekonomiku li għandna, ġifieri naħseb taħt partiti differenti kellna l-filosofija li l-mudell ekonomiku għandu jkun li tkabbar ekonomija kemm tiflaħ u li allura di kulħadd ħajkun kuntent bl-ekonomija qed tikber. Għalija dak il-mudell li falli fuq diversi livelli bħal ambjent, bħal inugwaljanzi fis-soċjetà, bħal drittijiet u kondizzjonijiet tal-ħaddiema, bħal prezzijiet biex wieħed jixtri dar li ħafna tisibuha diffiċli ħafna llum il-ġurnata, meta mbagħad niġifieri dawn huma għandhom eruq daw l-affarijiet fil-mudell ekonomiku li għandna. U naħseb li m'hemmx diskussjoni serja li nippruvaw naħsbu x'mudell differenti jista' jkun hemm.
Issa ovvjament dawn huma issues li joqtu l-ħafna nies, mhux daw li joqtu l-ħaddiem, joqtu. Kif tispjega l-fatt li minkejja li forsi dawn l-issues mhux qed jiġu diskussi, l-partiti jibqa' jkollhom is-support li għandhom li isna meta tiġi l-elezzjoni kulħadd jaqa' u xorta minkejja li forsi se tgħid ara dal-partit mhuwiex qed jitkellem fuq il-bżonnijiet tiegħi ma xorta ħantih il-vot b'ċertu entużjażmu.
Mela, il-partiti f'Malta huma magni organizzattivi enormi, mostri ħanejtek, huma kbar ħafna u għandhom storja ġifieri issa mertu tagħhom ukoll li għandhom following segwitu fis-soċjetà. Ġifieri għandhom mod kif jimmobilizzaw in-nies li ġew minn ġlidiet anke fil-passat li kien hawn Malta, jekk ġlidiet tal-ħaddiem jew ġlidiet politiċi oħrajn, ovvjament dak il-following għadu hemm u jibqa' b'saħħtu. Ovvjament ma nistgħux ninsew ukoll il-fatt li f'Malta l-politika ma taħdimx biss fuq livell ta' ideat u diskors, imma hemm ir-relazzjonijiet klijentelistiċi, ġifieri n-nies jaraw il-partit ukoll bħala mod kif jitqasmu r-riżorsi mill-istat. Ġifieri li jmorru f'Malta ħafna minn nies anke għandek diffikultà mortant il-politiku biex isolvilek b'xi mod. Allura jibqa' dak il-link li huwa li għall-partiti u għall-poter li għandhom huwa importanti ħafna li jżommu dik ir-relazzjoni klientelistika man-nies. Imma għandha effetti li huma ħżiena wkoll u mbagħad fuq is-soċjetà.
Fil-fatt is-sekretarju mhux ħatola il-minimum wage imma l-Ministru ħajsib job.
Preċiż, eżatt.
Huwa xi ftit wis riżultat taċ-ċokkon tagħna. Huwa realistiku li nippruvaw nimxu għal sistema politika oħra li nippruvaw għal xejn fis-sens dejjem ħatibqa' din kif.
Le, jiena ma nemminx li l-affarijiet jeżistu intrinsikament, ġifieri dejjem hemm proċess soċjali u politiku li għaddej u l-affarijiet jistgħu jinbidlu wkoll għalija b'mod ċar dik hija xi ħaġa mhix sistema li kienet minn dejjem hija xi ħaġa li jkun hemm fatturi ekonomiċi u soċjali li waslu għal-bidla wkoll. U aħna fl-attivizmu nippruvaw nwaslu għalija dik il-bidla, ġifieri aħna ħafna mix-xogħol li nagħmlu huwa li norganizzaw lin-nies fis-soċjetà, ġifieri nagħmlu niltaqgħu ma' komunitajiet differenti u li jkun hemm organizzazzjoni li hi politika sa ċertu punt imma li hija l-bogħod mill-partiti.
Kien hemm xi proposta jew ma nafx kandidat xi ħaġa li laqtitek li forsi minn l-affarijiet kollha li smajna s'issa?
Irrid ngħid onestament li le, fis-sens li proposti li wieħed jista' jgħid forsi li huma sbieħ u li jgħid forsi kien hemm ma qasnaf ma jiġunix ħaġa partikolarment f'moħħi għax dawn l-affarijiet proprju ma jibqgħux ittimbrati f'moħħi għax meta nitkellmu madwar li jiġu taf kif affarijiet li jmissu l-istrutturi ma naħsibx li kien hemm. Li jiġri Malta il-partiti li pruvaw jagħmlu r-riċetta li pruvaw jagħmlu ma din naħseb għandha jruq tagħha mid-disajnijiet f'diversi postijiet fid-dinja mhux Malta biss anke bħall-Ingilterra bħalma kif in-nies bħal Tony Blair eżempju li inti tipprova tevita li semmi l-konflitti li jeżistu fis-soċjetà u li qegħdin hemm il-konflitti fis-soċjetà u minflok tipprova toħroġ b'miżuri u proposti li huma vagi imma li jidhru sbieħ u jogħġbu il kulħadd. Imma li mbagħad kif edna però ma jbidlux l-affarijiet f'Malta eżempju sitwazzjoni għandna u qed tikber mill-istatistika kollox joħroġ li l-inugwaljanzi fis-soċjetà qed jitwessaw u qed jitwessaw brata pjuttost maġla. Ġifieri bejn min għandu ħafna flus u min għandu ftit jew m'għandux ħafna. Ma nafx, hemm diskors dwar x'ħajsir biex din is-sitwazzjoni tkun indirizzata meta nitkellmu dwar li Malta huwa pajjiż safe. Eżempju veru Malta mqabbel ma' postijiet oħra huwa pajjiż pjuttost safe. Għaliex Malta huwa pajjiż safe? Malta huwa pajjiż safe għax l-inugwaljanzi fis-soċjetà m'humiex kbar ħafna, iktar ma għandek inugwaljanzi fis-soċjetà, il-pajjiż isir inqas safe, eżempju.
Ekku, semmejt l-attivizmu, fil-bidu semmejt kemm taffaxxina u kważi li żewġ partijiet immobilizzaw daqshekk nies. Fl-aħħar snin rajna l-graffiti timmobilizza pjuttost ħafna nies ukoll mingħajr dix-xejra politika, anzi naħseb tippruvaw ħafna tibqgħu indipendenti u
bogħod minn politika partiġana.
Tara link ġifieri bej forsi l-fatt li l-inugwaljanza qed tiżdied għall-fatt li n-nies forsi iktar saru wieġbu għall-istedina tagħkom. Kif tispjega ġifieri?
Le hemm link, jiena naħseb li il-partiti jibqgħu jġibu ħafna voti u s-sistema li għandhom hija waħda b'saħħitha imma ixqu fiha din hemmhekk ukoll, ġifieri ħafna nies anke li jivvutaw għall-partiti illum il-ġurnata jirrealizzaw li hemm ċertu aspetti li qed jolqtuhom ħażin ħafna lilhom il-uliedhom jekkux il-ambjent, l-ispazji, il-bini bla razan li seħ, jekkux il-prezzijiet biex wieħed jixtri appartament jew dar, jekkux pagi baxxi, jiġifieri dik hija realtà ta' ħafna ta' eluf ta' nies Malta, okej xogħol hawn ma tistax tgħid li m'hawnx ix-xogħol Malta, però ħafna xogħol imħallas ħażin u b'kundizzjonijiet ħżiena wkoll. U issa lilien mill-lealtà li wieħed jista' ikollu lej partit jew ieħor materjalment on the ground għall-affarijiet qed iħosshom xorta.
Dan l-aħħar kellkom żewġ rebħiet tista' tgħid taż-żonqor u tal-Marina.
Sewa.
Ovvjament kien hemm ovvjament ma jgħid kienu rebħiet jew ġast il-konvenjenza tal-politikant? Kif
Kienu rebħiet, l-ebda rebħa ma hija finali, ovvjament, da proġett dejjem jista' jerġa' jitfaċċa, u aħna ħankunu f'dak il-każ lesti li nopponuh kif opponejnieh sa issa b'suċċess. Ovvjament li l-konvenjenza elettorali kienet hemm, mhux għax naħsbu li f'xi ħadd f'daqqa waħda qam filgħodu ġie illuminat b'xi qalb ambjentali u ddeċied eżempju li l-jott Marina Witteline ma ssirx. Ovvjament li l-konvenjenza elettorali kienet hemm, imma l-fatt li ħassew il-pressjoni li għall-konvenjenza elettorali iridu jabbandunaw, iridu jirtiraw proġett bħal dak kien grazzi għal pressjoni qawwija li saret minn nies. Ġifieri waħda ma teskludix l-oħra.
Ġaħseb it-talima hija dik li jekk inti hemm xogħlijiet fil-komunità tiegħek li inti kontrija, semma leħnek.
Dik hija t-talima, din mhijiex ġifieri dawn kien hemm numru ta' affarijiet, eżempju Malta kien hawn tul is-snin, tul 20 ta' snin taħt amministrazzjonijiet differenti, 3 pjanijiet differenti għal korsijiet tal-golf. Ġifieri li kienu ħajjieħdu x-xari, art verġni, waħda f'Taċenċ, waħda fil-park tal-Majistral, waħda fil-Verdala, Rabat, daw bil-ġlidiet li wħud minnhom damu snin u li immobilizzaw il-bdiewa, kollha huma ġlidiet li intrebħu. L-istess iż-żon, or l-istess hemm oħrajn, hemm lista pjuttost ġifieri estensiva. In-nies jistgħu jagħmlu d-differenza u jista' jagħmlu d-differenza anka meta jaħdmu u jorganizzaw ruħhom barra il-partiti.
U bħalissa allura fejn tara li hemm l-aktar bżonn li n-nies jimmobilizzaw ruħhom. Smajna fuq Żnuber
Iva, fuq il-livell ambjentali bħalissa Birzabbuġa għaddejja qed taffaċċja proġett insensat li daw iridu jieħdu madwar 7 grounds, id-daqs ta' 7 grounds tal-futbol biex jagħmlu mitjar jisu airstrip għal modelli ta' ajruplani, ħatiħu da fwiet Żnuber letteralment tefa ta' ġebla l-bot mill-irdum. Wieħed mill-ftit spazji miftuħa fejn ir-residenti ta' Birzabbuġa u oħrajn għadhom jistgħu jmorru għax Birzabbuġa nafu post diġà ġifgad bl-industrija. Dak letteralment għadu wieħed mill-ftit mid-żoni fejn wieħed jista' jmur għal wiet, fejn wieħed jista' jmur jara asafar, in-natura, hemm il-bdiewa wkoll u da kollu ħajjispiċċa hemm il-bdiewa wkoll, mela. U letteralment qed ngħidu immaġina tagħmel xi ħaġa hekk ħdejn irdum, ġifieri irdum importanti fejn hemm asafar importanti wkoll. U ovvjament fost in-nies ta' Birzabbuġa hemm rabja li għadi anke għax dal-proġett ġie imħabbar issa ftit tal-ġimgħat ilu u daw ħadd minnhom ma kien ġie konsultat bl-ebda mod. Ġifieri dik kienet ħaġa li nħmiet fis-sigriet mingħajr ħadd ma ġie ikkonsultat u f'daqqa waħda tħabbar li intlaħaq dan il-ftehim bejn il-gvern u assoċjazzjoni li hemmhekk ħajsir dan il-mitjar.
Fil-fakku ma nistaqsik jekk kienx hemm konsultazzjoni jekk il-residenti jafux ġifieri.
Mhux biss konsultazzjoni ma kienx hemm letteralment apposta għamluha li dal-ftehim sar fis-sigriet. Min kien beda jifhem għax kien hemm ovvjament in-nies ikun hemm dak li jista' jkun isiru prova jindaga dwar kienu jiġħdu kollox, ġifieri ma kienu jagħmel xejn kien inħema kollox fis-sigriet. Din hija verament mhijiex il-mod kif isiru l-affarijiet qed ngħidu dwar l-ispazji tagħna. Issa jiena din ir-ridikolaġġ nitaħħal ħaġa mela nagħmlu kampanja elettorali u noqogħdu mpinġu għax dak li nagħmlu mpinġu l-ġonna u s-siġar. Sew u ngħidu t-toroq ħolomluhom bil-ġonna u s-siġar, impinġu dak ma triċerf xi ħadd marfu il-kompjuter u pinġa l-ġonna u s-siġar. Ma nafux jekk hux ħajsiru daw, għas naħseb kien hemm studji dwar jekk jistgħux isiru jew le. Ġifieri noqogħdu ngħidu. Imbagħad l-ispazji li qegħdin hemm tan-natura importanti tal-bdiewa neqirduhom b'dan il-mod insensat. Naħseb hija kieku ma kienx daqshekk traġika l-biċċa hija tad-daħka ngħidlek.
Bħal ħafna affarijiet li ħawdaru. Nixbir nistgħu nistennew xi forma ta' azzjoni u
għada stess fl-10:30 fil-pjazza tal-Knisja ta' Birzabbuġa ħajkun hemm konferenza stampa mir-residenti minn numru wiesa ta' residenti differenti ta' Birzabbuġa li ħajjispjegaw ir-raġunijiet għalfejn huma xxukjati b'dan il-pjan u għaliex dan il-pjan għandu jitħassar immedjatament.
Għada daw kollha li jistgħu jattendu għandhom jattendu speċjalment jekk jixtiequ topponu dan il-proġett. Andre Callus, thank you very much.
Grazzi lilkom tal-opportunità.
That's it from us. Thank you very much for following, and have an evening full of loving.